And joining me for more on this is Ukraine's ambassador to Australia, Vasyl Myroshnychenko. Ambassador, thank you for your time as always. Lovely to see you. Can I just get your response after the meeting of the so-called Coalition of the Willing?
It was a very important meeting and, in a way, a milestone of 35 countries coming to a meeting, Australia included, represented by its ambassador. 27 countries were represented by their leaders. And certainly security guarantees is what Ukraine needs for its future security. Certainly all of this and the potential deployment of British and French troops in Ukraine are conditional on a ceasefire. But definitely the security protocols have been discussed, agreed, and as we are moving forward, there is some significant progress. And certainly we need to build a deterrence for any future aggression. But as we speak about any future Russia's aggression, we still have to force Russia to end this war. And this is where the challenge is.
Absolutely. I mean, do the commitments go far enough? Is there anything else that you would like to see?
It's a significant development in its own way, because certainly Europe and the world has not seen a war of this scale ever, I mean, except for the Second World War. So certainly ending this war is a huge challenge for Europe, and certainly we can't achieve it without American commitment to the security guarantees, which are currently on the table. Now the question is, how can we work together and how can we jointly force Russia into ending this war, and how we can make sure that Russia is not being rewarded for its aggression. And this is where the new kind of task and objective is, but definitely having American representatives in those meetings and moving step by step towards peace is quite heartening. Though, I mean, it's not guaranteed that Russians will commit to a ceasefire and will negotiate in good faith.
Earlier in the week, Ambassador, President Zelensky called for the United States to detain Russian President Vladimir Putin, like what's happened in Venezuela. Is that your view too?
Look, I think it was, in a way, the way President responded to a question. It was more of a joke, but as we know, every joke is only partly a joke. Certainly, I don't think it's viable or possible, but definitely that reflects the mood of every Ukrainian. This is how we would like see Putin, but we would like Putin see tried by International Criminal Court, of which he's already been indicted, and that's where we would like to see. We would like to see a fair tribunal. We would like to see justice. Because for every Ukrainian, it's all about justice, which every Australian can relate to. That's a fair goal. That's what we are striving for. We want to have a life like everybody else. And instead, we've been fighting Russians for the past, 11 years or almost 12 years now, and the 4 years of the large-scale invasion. And we just can't stop, because if we stop, well, there will be no more Ukraine. And certainly for Ukrainians who are now experiencing severe weather, it's cold, the temperatures are dropping very low at the moment, and Russians continue hammering our cities, our critical infrastructure, and it's happening almost every day.
And it's the same situation every year. I've been reporting on this for the last 3 years, and it's this time of year. It's incredibly cold, as you said, targeting that critical infrastructure. When it comes to this news about having troops on the ground, Ambassador, is this something that you think Australia should be considering as well?
That was part of the discussion that we had. So we clearly have a commitment from Britain and France at the moment. Other countries who are members of the Coalition of the Willing, including Australia, will be coming up with proposals of how they can contribute to this mission, be it with their troops or maybe with equipment, or potentially some contributions to Pearl program, which is prioritized Ukraine's requirement list, under which we can procure air defense missiles or other equipment that our defense forces need. So there are different ways how you can contribute to that Coalition of the Willing, and certainly we're extremely grateful to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to committing to the Coalition of the Willing, being there and providing assistance, as he's done more recently through through the announcement in late November. And as you know, Prime Minister talked to President Zelensky on Monday, and they had a very good conversation. And President Zelensky briefed him on the developments. They've also discussed what else could be done in 2026.
And what else does that look like? What else could be done?
As I've said, Australia would be can contribute with some of the equipment, some material, some of the decommissioned equipment, which would be still valuable in Ukraine, and that includes ammunition. It includes some platforms which would be still useful in Ukraine. That could be done through efforts on the demining side, helping Ukraine to demine, or helping us procure ammunition that we need, which Australia does not have, but for instance, which America has. And that includes a lot of air defense systems and platforms and missiles for them. So certainly there are many ways of how Australia can continue supporting us in addition to the advocacy in the region, supporting us in a multilateral system. But I see lots of opportunities on both sides, and definitely we could cooperate on defense industry. We can cooperate on the future rebuild and reconstruction of Ukraine, where I see many opportunities for Australian businesses who can benefit from helping Ukraine rebuild and helping Ukraine prosper. Certainly, we can't work on that until the war is still ongoing, but we should be working on that and making plans now.
We do have to wrap things up, Ambassador, but a quick response from you, if I can. How are the events in Venezuela and President Trump's and plans to annex Greenland impacting conversations at the moment?
Look, I'm not the best person to comment on that. I'm happy to comment on Australia-Ukraine relations. That's my mandate. Certainly, what we are seeing, and this is where we have lots of discussions, is about how security, and once it's undermined in different regions, can have an impact globally. And certainly, we can't compare these situations in any way, because Russia has committed a massive act of aggression and against Ukraine, killing Ukrainian people. Certainly, the people of Venezuela have suffered so much, and what they've seen with Maduro, with Hugo Chavez, his predecessor, it was just extreme poverty and gross violations of human rights and organized crime and was not. And certainly we are interested in seeing things develop according to the international law and the UN Charter. And this is what my foreign minister has stated in his remarks commenting on this issue. And that's where it is.